Hey there, movie lovers. Let's dive into a feel-good mix of romance, comedy, and a little sprinkle of time travel magic. So meet the Lake family. They're living their best calm life by the sea. We've got Tim, the awkward but lovable son, his sharp, always busy mom Mary, his cool, laid-back dad James, quirky Uncle Desmond who's always in his own world, and Tim's wild-hearted sister Kit Kat. Sounds like a fun crew, right? Every year they throw a New Year's Eve bash, and this year is no different. It's all music, drinks, dancing, and cringe moments. Tim's dragged around the party by his mate Jay, and when a girl named Polly leans in for that midnight kiss, bam! Tim totally misses the cue and awkwardly shakes her hand instead. Yup, brutal. The next morning, Tim wakes up feeling hungover and haunted by his handshake horror. That's when his dad calls him into the study for a serious chat. What kind of serious? Oh, just the kind where your dad tells you, "Hey son, by the way, all the men in our family can time travel." Wait, what? Naturally, Tim thinks his dad's gone nuts. But James insists. Apparently, the men in the family can go back in time, but only within their own lifetime. No visiting dinosaurs or ancient Rome. You just go into a dark place, like a closet, close your eyes, think of the exact moment you want to return to, and boom, you're there. Tim decides to try it, purely to prove it's nonsense. He steps into the closet, thinks about last night's party, and when he opens the door, he's back. Dressed like yesterday, hearing the party downstairs and dodging the table he'd crashed into the first time. This time, he doesn't mess it up. He actually kisses Polly at midnight, and she loves it. Just like that, he's convinced. The whole thing is real. Time travel is legit. Back in the present, his dad gives him the classic wise words. Don't use it for money or power, use it for something meaningful. And what does Tim want more than anything? Yep, love. The first step, that summer, Kit Kat brings a guest to their beach house, her boyfriend's cousin Charlotte. And Tim, well, he's already thinking she might just be the one. Tim's spending the summer with his quirky but lovable family, and guess who's also there? Charlotte, the beautiful friend of his sister Kit Kat. Tim, of course, falls hard for her. He tries to get her attention in the most awkwardly sweet way possible, like offering to put sunscreen on her back. But oops! He totally messes it up and spills the entire bottle. Classic Tim moment. Embarrassed, he does what any time-traveling guy would do. He goes back in time to fix it and plays it cool instead. But no matter how many times he rewinds the clock, Charlotte just doesn't seem to feel the same way. He keeps trying all summer long, but it's like trying to catch smoke. She slips right through his fingers. Then comes the big moment. Charlotte's last night at their house. Tim finally gathers the courage to confess his feelings, only to find out that Kit Kat had already warned her that he might do this. Ouch! Charlotte gently shuts him down and even wonders aloud if things might have gone differently had he told her sooner. That question sticks in Tim's head. So, you guessed it, he goes back in time to tell her earlier in the summer. But this time, Charlotte tells him to ask again on her last night. That's when Tim realizes something huge. No matter what he does, Charlotte was never going to be the one. Finally, he lets go. The next day, Charlotte leaves, and so does Tim. He heads to London to start fresh and moves in with Harry, a family friend who just happens to be a grumpy playwright with a temper. Great. Life in London isn't exactly romantic at first. Tim's working as a lawyer and mostly surrounded by other guys. Not ideal when you're looking for love. But then, everything changes one magical night. Tim and his friend Jay go to this super unique restaurant called Dans Le Noir, where you eat in total darkness. And there, across the black void, he meets Mary. They talk, laugh, and connect without even seeing each other. After dinner, the lights come on and boom, sparks fly. Mary is even more stunning than he imagined, and their connection feels real. Before parting, she gives him her phone number, and just like that, Tim's love story is about to take a brand new turn. So Tim's riding high on love after that amazing night with Mary, but as soon as he steps back into the house, he's hit with reality. His grumpy playwright roommate Harry is fuming. Why? Well, the opening night of his big play was a disaster. The lead actor totally blanked on his lines. Feeling guilty, Tim does what any time-traveling gentleman would do. He jumps back in time to fix it. He goes to the theater right before showtime, pulls the lead actor Tom aside, and gets him to rehearse his lines. Problem solved? Not quite, because this time another actor messes up. So, back in time again. Tim steps in, helps the second guy out too, and finally, the play goes off without a hitch. Harry's happy. The audience loves it. Success. But there's a catch. Tim checks his phone and realizes, oh no, Mary's number is gone. His perfect date night? Poof. Vanished because of all the time meddling. The next morning, feeling crushed, Tim is sitting with Harry over breakfast when something catches his eye. A newspaper ad for a Kate Moss exhibition. Now he remembers, Mary loves Kate Moss. Light bulb moment. He starts hanging around the exhibit every day as just hoping to bump into her again. After a whole week of waiting, guess who walks in? Yup, Mary. Tim nervously makes his move, but this time things don't go so smoothly. They chat, but it turns out she's already dating someone, a guy named Rupert. Ouch. So what does Tim do? He traces it back and finds out Mary actually met Rupert at a party hosted by her friend Joanna. Time for another rewind. Tim zips back to that night, crashes the party, and convinces Mary to leave before Rupert even shows up. She's a bit unsure, but there's something about Tim. She feels drawn to him. They leave, literally brushing shoulders with Rupert, who walks past without a clue he just missed out on his supposed future girlfriend. Now that Mary's free, she and Tim go out to dinner. They click even more. She invites him back to her place. It's romantic, intimate, until, well, Tim kind of fumbles the moment. He trips over her shoes, struggles with her bra. It's hilariously awkward. Not satisfied, Tim rewinds again. Second try, he dodges the shoes, smooth moves, much better. But you know Tim, he wants it perfect. So he goes back again and again. After a few retries, he finally gets the perfect first night with Mary. And from there, their relationship blossoms. Months go by, love grows stronger, and soon they're living together. One night at the theater with a coworker named Rory, Tim runs into Charlotte. Remember her? His old crush from the summer? He tries to chat, but it's super awkward. Goes back for round 2. Still awkward. So for the third try, he decides to just leave it. And guess what? She approaches him. This time they have a real conversation, and Charlotte actually invites him to dinner. She even admits she regrets rejecting him. Then she pulls a classic rom-com move. She asks him to walk her home and kind of tempts him to come inside. But Tim, he says no. That moment of resisting temptation makes Tim realize something powerful. He's truly in love with Mary. So he rushes back home, wakes her up, and blurts out a marriage proposal. Except it's not exactly dreamy. No problem. He rewinds and tries again. The second time, she says yes. Fast forward to summer. Tim takes Mary home to meet his parents. Mary totally hits it off with his mom, and Tim enjoys some much-needed time with his wise, wonderful dad. But there's another surprise. His quirky sister Kit Kat is home too, and she's clearly had a rough time in London. And just like that, so things are finally looking bright for Tim and Mary. The Lake family is absolutely thrilled when the couple announces their wedding and Mary's pregnancy. A double celebration. The wedding itself, a total romantic chaos. It's beautiful, but the weather has other plans. A storm crashes the ceremony, ripping the tent apart, and everyone ends up running for cover inside the house. Still, it's the kind of unforgettable moment that becomes a cherished memory. Now let's talk about the speeches. Tim isn't exactly thrilled with the ones given by Rory, Harry, or Jay. So being the time traveler he is, he keeps jumping back and switching best men until he gets it right, choosing his dad. And that heartfelt choice pays off big time. Months roll by, and Mary gives birth to their adorable daughter, Posey. Tim is completely in awe of fatherhood, from the sleepless nights to those magical little moments. They move to a new house, and soon enough, it's Posey's first birthday. The gang shows up, Harry, Rory, everyone except Kit Kat. But then, ding dong, the doorbell rings. And it's not her. It's Kit Kat's troubled boyfriend, Jimmy. Uh-oh. Turns out Kit Kat had a fight with Jimmy, went drinking, and crashed her car on the way over. Tim panics. He can't let his sister get hurt like this. So, he does what he does best. Goes back in time to stop the accident by picking her up before she ever drives. Problem solved? Not quite. Kit Kat's issues run deeper. Her drinking is just a symptom of her toxic relationship with Jimmy. So Tim takes it a step further, way back to the New Year's Eve party where she first met Jimmy. This time, instead of falling for him, She lets loose all her resentment and literally punches him in the face, even though he has no idea who she is in this new timeline. Back in the present, things click. Kit Kat realizes she's actually into Jay, not Jimmy. And guess what? Their new relationship is way healthier. Everything seems perfect until Tim gets home and notices something off. His daughter, Posey, she's not there. Instead, there's a son. And that's when it hits him. Changing anything before Posey's conception means she never existed. Heartbroken, he rushes back in time again to consult his dad, James. And James confirms it. You can't tamper with time before your child is conceived. Want Posey? Then you've got to leave the past untouched. So with a heavy heart, Tim goes back again, this time to undo Kit Kat's rescue. He lets the car crash happen and stays by her side through recovery. Instead of rewriting her past, he helps her change her future. With love and encouragement and a little nudge toward Jay, Kit Kat slowly starts turning her life around on her own. Back home, Tim embraces Posey like never before. And inspired by their little family, he and Mary decide to have another baby. At first, Mary's not sure, but 2 years later, they welcome a son. Life's moving fast. Then one night, Mary gets ready to meet her publishing company's star author, but Posey accidentally destroys the manuscript. Tim's about to rewind time again when he gets a devastating call from his mom. His dad, James, has terminal cancer. The family gathers at their beach house, and Tim shares some deeply emotional conversations with his father. They both know that fixing this through time travel could mean losing Tim or Kit Kat's existence altogether. It's a heartbreaking reality. Some things just can't be fixed. But James doesn't leave him empty-handed. He offers Tim something more powerful than time travel: wisdom. He tells Tim to live each day twice, first with all the stress and rush, and then again, noticing the beauty in the ordinary. And when Tim tries this, he finds joy in the smallest, sweetest parts of life. Still, there are moments even he doesn't want to relive, like the day his father died. So Tim keeps going back in time just to visit him. Even after James is gone, he's not really gone for Tim. Not yet. But then, another curveball. Mary wants a third child, and Tim knows once that child is born, he'll no longer be able to go back and see his father. He's now faced with a heart-wrenching choice. Things take a bittersweet turn, but in the most beautiful way possible. So after everything he's experienced, Tim finally comes to terms with a powerful realization. He can't keep clinging to the past. As tempting as it is to relive those precious moments over and over again, he knows he has to move forward. And with that, he and Mary decide to have another baby. Fast forward a few months, Mary's pregnant again and almost due. But here's the catch. With each child born, Tim loses the ability to travel back to times before their birth. That means this is his last chance to visit his dad in the past. And so he does. He goes back one final time to do something simple, but deeply meaningful. They play table tennis together, just like old times. But this time, there's a heavy silence beneath the smiles. His father knows. He can see it in Tim's eyes. This is their goodbye. And instead of resisting, he embraces it. Then comes the most heart-melting moment. They take one final trip, not to a significant life event, but to a random day from Tim's childhood. A day at the beach. Young Tim running around with his dad, both of them healthy, happy, and full of life. They run, laugh, and just exist together. One last time. Tim returns to the present just in time to witness the birth of his third child. Life goes on. Time moves forward. Years pass, and we see Tim living a peaceful, content life. He's now fully settled with Mary and their 3 kids, and even Kit Kat, his whimsical, troubled sister, has found joy and stability, now a mother herself with Jay. One morning, Tim does something simple yet touching. He lets Mary sleep in, makes breakfast for the kids, and just enjoys the moment. It's nothing dramatic, but it's everything. And here's where Tim makes a life-altering choice. He stops time traveling completely. No more jumping back, no more fixing mistakes. Instead, he decides to live every single day as if he's already lived it once before. Why? Because now he knows the secret to happiness. It's not in changing the past, it's in appreciating the present. The smiles, the chaos, the stillness, the imperfections, everything. And that's how the story ends, not with some big dramatic twist, but with a gentle reminder. Live every day like it's a gift, because it truly is.